गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर् गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अहो बकीयं स्तनकालकूटं जिघांसया पाययदप्य साध्वी लेभे गतिन्धा त्रुचितां ततोऽन्यं कं वा दयालुं शरणं व्रजेम। नमः कमलिना भाय नमः कमल मालिने नमः कमल पादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees of God, in the way of a lecture, I am going to explain one of the divine compositions of Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, and that is from Prem Ras Madira, Dainya Madhuri number 26. The words will be projected on the screen. We will sing it and then I will explain it. सोए हमारी बार कहाँ हरी सोए हमारी बार कहाँ पतित सदा ते कृपालु सदा ते कारण रहित कृपालु सदा ते कृपालु सदा ते जानत जानत तोहि संसार कहाँ हरे जानत तोहि संसार सोए सोए हमारी बार कहाँ हरी कैसे हूँ पतित शरण टुक आए कैसे हूँ पतित शरण टुक आए कैसे हूँ पतित कैसे हूँ पतित शरण टुक आए कैसे पतित शरण टुक आए शरण टुक आए शरण टुक आए राखत चरण मझार कहाँ हरे राखत चरण मझार कहाँ सोए सोए हमारी बार कहाँ हरी सोए पतितन ही सो प्यार करत नित प्यार करत नित प्यार करत नित पतितन वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Shri Maharaj says, O Sham Sundar, you have never delayed in rescuing sinners after hearing their cries of desperation. Why have you fallen asleep as I cry out to you? Hearing a sinner calling out to you, you immediately rush to him without waiting even a moment. The entire world knows that you have always been causelessly merciful. No matter how a sinner surrenders, you always give him shelter at your lotus feet. Your loving saints proclaim boldly that you have a special love for sinful souls. Says Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, if this is true, then my Lord, why have you become stone-hearted with the most sinful Kripalu? First of all, Shri Maharaj Ji is calling himself a most sinful one. This is the humility of saints. Tulsidas Ji says, "Oh my Lord, you have never seen a sinner quite like myself. Mo samkaun kutil khal kami," he says in Vinay Patrika. "Hari haun sab patitan ko टीको." मैं सब पतितों में सबसे ऊंचा हूँ, सबसे बड़ा हूँ पाप करने में. Shri Maharaj Ji is also saying, I am the most sinful. The humility that we need to have is displayed by saintly souls who are not at all sinful. Perhaps they were never sinful. These are the very rare saints who are the Nitya Siddh, eternally liberated ones. They were never under the control of Maya. Or perhaps they were Sadhan Siddh. They were once like us, controlled by Maya, and by surrendering to a guru, they became surrendered to God, and then their sins were destroyed forever. Because once you attain freedom from Maya, you are never controlled by Maya again. Sada pashyanti surayah tad vishnohu paramam padam, say the scriptures. So Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, who is the fifth original Jagadguru, and the best, declared the best amongst all Jagadgurus, Jagadguruttam Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj is saying, I am the most sinful. He inspires us to become humble. So soe hamri hi bar. Why are you sleeping? Why have you fallen asleep? Why are you not gracing me? Says the devotee. Now the Vedas say when Bhagwan goes to sleep, Mahapralaya takes place. So he cannot be sleeping, because the final dissolution of countless universes will take place. Smita metasya characharam suktam chasya mahapralaya. The Vedas say when he smiles, merely by smiling, he creates uncountable universes. And by sleeping, he destroys innumerable universes. Here, the devotee is saying out of love. This is not the philosophy. He is saying out of love, भगवान जब मेरी बारी आई आपकी कृपा प्राप्त करने की, तो आप सो गए क्षीर सागर में. You have fallen asleep. These are the words of, loving words of a devotee, who says that whenever a sinner calls out to you, you don't waste even a single moment. You go rushing to him. You run towards him. Then we ask ourselves, I am a sinner. We individually think to ourselves, I am a sinner. But wait, am I? Am I a sinner? This doubt comes in. What is a sin? When we are asked this, we say, well, I have read in the excuse me, in the Ramayana, then par pida sam nahi adhamai. To harm others intentionally is the biggest sin. I've also heard nahi asatya sam patak punja. There's no sin quite like telling lies. So I have heard that, and I don't tell lies. I don't intentionally harm others. Then we also know that stealing from others is a sin. Committing murder is a big sin. And scriptures tell us about 5 greatest sins, such as stealing gold, drinking alcohol, etc. So we hear a lot about sins. But our scriptures tell us in a nutshell what a sin is. They tell us that worldly thoughts are sins. When we are not thinking of God and we are thinking about the world, we are doing nothing but committing sins. The only time we are free of sin is when we are doing Rup Dhyan. Whether we do that Rup Dhyan while renouncing all worldly duties, obligations, and responsibilities, and we dedicate that time to doing Rup Dhyan, or we are doing Rup Dhyan while performing our chores, while assuming our worldly responsibilities. But we must accept this fact that the only time we are free of sin is when we are thinking of God. Rest of the time, you may say, but I was doing charitable work. Yes, while doing charitable work, were you thinking of God? No, I wasn't thinking of God. I don't really believe in God all that much, and I'm not much of a devotee, but I was doing good for the world. I was building charitable hospitals, and I have helped build many orphanages. I have fed thousands and thousands of people. That can't be wrong. That can't be a sin. But it could be a sin. If all this charitable work is done keeping only the world in mind, and if God is nowhere in the mind, then even that seemingly virtuous action is in fact a sinful act. Our scriptures tell us that even if it seems to be a sinful action in the eyes of the world, but it's being performed with God in the mind, then it becomes a devotional act. And it is a virtuous act, seemingly a virtuous act, but if it is not done with God in mind, it becomes a sinful act. An example would be that of Arjun. He's committing many murders, but he is not considered to be sinful because he is doing Rup Dhyan. He is thinking of Bhagwan as he is fighting the battle. And Shri Krishna had told him, Arjun, you're going to fight the battle. After convincing Arjun that this was the right thing to do, Shri Krishna says, now fight the battle, but keep me in your mind all the time. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yuddhya cha. तू युद्ध भी कर और मेरा ध्यान भी कर, दोनों साथ साथ कर. क्योंकि जब हम संसार को दिख रहा है कि अर्जुन मर्डर कर रहा है, लेकिन वो भगवान का ध्यान कर रहा है भीतर से, तो भगवान ने उसकी फाइल में, कर्मों की फाइल में एक भी पाप नहीं लिखा. जो 18 दिन तक महायुद्ध चलता रहा, उसमें भगवान ने अर्जुन की फाइल में एक भी पाप नहीं लिखा. इसने एक भी मर्डर नहीं किया. ये तो भक्ति ही कर रहा था 18 दिन. ये तो हमेशा भक्ति ही करता है, और इन 18 दिनों में भी इसने भक्ति ही की. So Arjun is committing murders externally. The whole world says, oh, he's committing so many murders. He's killing so many. He's wreaking havoc on the battlefield. But Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, what are you talking about? He did not commit a single murder. He was only thinking of me. Likewise, Prahlad is running a kingdom. He's getting married. He has a child, Virochan. He is fighting with, he is declaring war on other kingdoms. He is performing works of anger, greed, hatred, and so on and so forth. So the whole world is seeing that Prahlad is a king, and as a king, he must perform all sorts of actions. But Bhagwan Shri Krishna says, Prahlad is only devoting himself to me. He is an Ananya Bhakta. He is an exclusive devotee, because while running the kingdom, while living the life of a householder, and while living in luxury, his mind is always focused on God. So much so that he is not at all attached to his wife or child, but he's doing the duty as a husband and as a father excellently. So what constitutes a sin? Worldly thoughts. Worldly thoughts are what sins are. Roop Dhyan is the only way to stay away from sins. This is why Shri Maharaj Ji emphasizes Roop Dhyan. Learn how to think about Shri Radha and Krishna lovingly. Practice thinking of them. Take some time out from your busy schedule and give that time to sadhana. Practice devotion. Practice loving him. And even in your free time, as you are engaged in worldly works, you have 5 minutes, go ahead and do Roop Dhyan. 2 minutes, go ahead and do Roop Dhyan. Be greedy for it, because that is the only time you are not committing a sin. So yes, I am a sinner. And I'm calling out to you, O Shri Krishna, but you're not coming. I've heard that you don't delay your arrival even for a moment, but I'm calling out to you and you're not coming. Why? It all depends on the calling, who is calling, and how they're calling out to him, to God. When we call out to him, are we just calling out to him using our tongue? Or are we calling out to him from our heart? Are we just verbally saying to him, oh, I'm a sinner, I need your protection, please come? Or are we saying these words from the heart? Are there tears in the eyes as we speak these words? Do we mean what we say? Living in the world and having lived countless times, countless lives as worldly people, we have become accustomed to worldly ways. That's natural. So in the world, we talk a lot. And we exaggerate a lot. We say a lot of things. Oh, I'm here to help you. Oh, yes, I'll be here. I'll be right there. Oh, yes, you're welcome in my house. Even if we don't have any feelings within, we speak words of respect. We give our assistance in words. A lot of times we just sit down at a distance. We say, can I help you? We just say this. Or we even say to God, Nitya Seva Mangu. I always want to serve you. Always. But a lot of times we take the worldly habit that we have of just speaking a lot. Shri Maharaj Ji कहते हैं ना, तो Sheikh Chilli का बयान है. There was a man called Sheikh Chilli. He was a beggar actually. And he went begging and he got some sattu, this grain, and it was parched grain, and he was going to mix it with water and drink it, and that was going to be his meal. But he thought, let me not eat it right now, so he put it in a little packet. He hung it in his modest little hut that he had. And then he laid down on his cot and he started thinking. And he thought to himself, what if I don't eat this tattu? What if I sell it in the market? I'll get a few coins. And with those few coins, I will buy some pan and I will sell them by the roadside. And I'll get some more money. And pretty soon, I'll have a pan shop. I will have a shop, I'll be selling pans, and then I'll make a lot of money. And then I'll get into a small business. And then I'll get into a bigger business. Then I'll buy a hotel. Then I'll buy many hotels. One day I'll become a king. And I will then get married. I'll live in a palace, and I will get married. And we will both have my wife and I, we will have a child, and that child will be a boy. And one day, my son will be going towards the stables where there are horses. And I will say to my wife, Are sunti ho? Are you listening to me? Your son is going to the stables. Bring him back. And she will say, well, he's your son too. Why don't you bring him back? Why don't you go? And I will say, I am the king. And she'll say, I am the queen. And then I'll get really angry at her and I'll say, really? You're the queen? But I am a king. I married you, so you became a queen. And you show me such attitude? Well, you know what? He got so angry in his thoughts. And he said, I will give her a good kick. And there was a sattu hanging in right there in a little pot, earthen pot. And he got so caught up with his imagination that he kicked that pot. The pot came crashing down and all the sattu was now inedible. That's Sheikh Chilli. He's thinking a lot, making such plans and saying so much to himself, but it's just hollow. It's just hollow imagination. That's what it is. So we talk a lot, we say a lot, we claim a lot, especially if it's a stranger, you know. This guy is a stranger and we're only going to be sitting together for a couple of hours on the plane. And so he asks, what do you do? I own factories. And actually he's a factory worker. Oh, well, I am a brain surgeon. Really? Actually, he's a patient in a hospital or an orderly. So how is he going to find out? Let me just exaggerate. Sheikh Chilli. So we also take the same habit to God and we say, oh, I'm a sinner and I want your protection and give me the alms of love, Prem Bhiksham Dehi. We say all this. And then we think, why is he not coming? He should be running. He will come running if we mean what we say. Once we accept ourselves to be sinners, and when we ask him for his protection, when we ask him for his grace, and truly ask him from the heart, he will definitely come. We hear about devotees we hear about those who called out to him and Bhagwan came running. And we say, why don't you come running like you came for Draupadi? Draupadi called out to him for protection. Ha Nath Dwarika Vasin, O Lord of Dwarika, I am in big trouble. Please come and protect my honor. And Shri Krishna came right away. When she surrendered fully, when she gave up the hope in her 5 husbands, the Pandavas, and in the elders like Bhishma and Kripacharya and Dronacharya, and when she gave up hope even in herself, because she did try, when Dushasan was trying to disrobe her, Draupadi put the edge of her sari between her teeth. But Dushasan is said to have had the strength of many thousands of elephants. So he didn't have to use any strength to just yank that sari out of her mouth. And that's when Draupadi relied fully on Shri Krishna and she called out to him, come and protect my honor. And Shri Krishna was there on command. And he came in the form of a sari. So the sari kept on extending endlessly and Dushasan had to finally give up out of exhaustion. He became exhausted. So Draupadi called out to you, Gajraj called out to you. Gajraj just said Ra, he didn't even say Ma, and Bhagwan came to rescue him. When we are at the level of Draupadi and Gajraj, Shri Krishna will also come. But what we are doing at present is we are doing sadhana, we are practicing being genuine. We are practicing saying whatever we are saying to him from the heart under the guidance of our Gurudev. So there should be no doubt, oh, he's not coming. He has come for so many people. He has not come for me. He comes for the fully surrendered one. One who says, I am exhausted coming to the world. I have accepted so many mothers, fathers, spouses, children. I have had so much wealth. I've had so much in the way of the world, but the world did not satisfy me. And now I accept you as my one and only. Now I have come to realize that life without your love is worse than death and more frightening than death itself. So I have come to surrender myself fully to you. The Vedas say, Todasyeva Sharana Amahasya. te tva mada indra madayantu shushminam tu viradhasam jaritre eko devatra dayase. The Vedas say, surrender to God. Surrender to Him, and He'll give you all His divine property. He will not hold anything back. He will give you everything. So we have to work on our tears. We have to work on being genuine when we speak to God. You are causelessly merciful. Karana rahit kripalu sadate janat tohi sansar. So a doubt also comes in. He's causelessly merciful. Then why does He not give me His grace? ऐसो को उदार जग माही बिनु सेवा जो द्रवै दीन पर राम सरिस को नाही ऐसो को उदार जग माही. Vinay Patrika by Sant Tulsidas. Tulsidas ji says, my Lord is causelessly merciful. भगवान अकारण करुण है. संसार सकारण कृपालु है. किसी दुकान पे आप जाइए और आप पैसा दीजिए, वस्तु ले लीजिए. ये सामान कितने का है? ये $50 का है. हम तो 30 देंगे. अरे ऐसे कैसे? ये 50 का है, $30 है तो $30 का सामान लो. संसार सकारण कृपालु है. जहां जहां कृपा होती हुई दिखती है वो किसी कारण के वश है. किसी को हम देते हैं कुछ तो इस मंशा से कि हम इससे भविष्य में लेंगे भी. अरे चिंता मत करो, इसका दुगना वसूली कर लेंगे, हम ऐसे बोलते हैं. या जितना इसने दिया है कम हम दे रहे हैं इसको, कम से कम उतना तो हम इसे लेंगे ही. संसार में हम सकारण कृपालु हैं और सारा संसार सकारण कृपालु है. लेकिन एक भगवान है और एक उनके जन संत, वो अकारण कृपालु होते हैं. क्योंकि संत का नेचर भगवान की नेचर हूबहू वही होता है. संत हृदय नवनीत समाना कहा कविन पै कहा न आना निज परिताप द्रवई नवनीता पर दुख द्रवई सुसंत पुनीता. Tulsidas ji says the heart of a saint who is causelessly merciful, just like Bhagwan, the heart of a saint is like butter. It's soft like butter. Many poets have said that. Tulsidas ji says, I don't agree with this. They were naive in saying this. Why do you say that? Because butter does melt, but it melts when you put it in a pot, when you put it in a dish, and then you put that pot on fire. You light the stove, put the pot on it, and put the butter in it. Butter feels the heat, and then it melts. It's melting because of its own sorrow. It's experiencing sorrow, so it's melting. But the heart of a saint is infinitely softer than butter because it melts looking at the sorrows of others. The saint's heart does not melt because of the sorrow that saint is experiencing. It melts because of the sorrows that worldly people, we are experiencing. So a saint his heart is infinitely softer than butter. So God is causelessly merciful. Excuse me. And that's what I'm saying. He's causelessly merciful, then why hasn't He graced me? Shri Krishna says, I will grace you. But you have not graced me, so is there a condition? Shri Krishna says, there is a condition. The condition is that you surrender fully. There's a condition. Shri Krishna says, no, listen to what surrendering means. To surrender means to do nothing. I want you to give me your full responsibility. Like Kabir has done. Sant Kabir says, Jo kare so hari kare, hot Kabir Kabir. Kabir has given me, Shri Krishna says, Kabir has given me the responsibility, his full responsibility. He has surrendered to me fully. So I grace him. Everything that he does is done by me. The works of a saint are not his own. They are the works of God. God says, Kabir, Tukaram, Mirabai, all of them and more, so Tulsidas, Surdas, they surrendered fully to me. They gave me full responsibility. And I assumed their full responsibility. This is called Yogakshem Vahan Karna. Shri Krishna says in the Gita, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. I will assume your full responsibility, granted that you surrender fully to me. And surrendering to God is not a condition. It's not that we have to do something before he gives us his grace, because to surrender means to do nothing. To give him full responsibility. And now it is as if the car is being driven by Shri Krishna. The car of our life is being driven by Shri Krishna. We are in the back seat as a passenger, just relaxing. At present, we are driving our life car ourselves. So we make a lot of mistakes. We take a lot of wrong turns. Then we say, oh, I made so many mistakes in my life. Then we say, I will give you my full responsibility, O Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna then takes the front seat. He becomes the driver of our life car. So Sant Tulsidas, Surdas, Mirabai, Kabir Das, Raman Maharshi, so many, Tyagaraja, Purandar Das, Ramakrishna Paramhans, and countless more. They surrendered fully to God, and to surrender means to do nothing. So Shri Krishna says, I require you to do nothing. Then I become causelessly merciful. You are doing something or the other. You're performing good actions, bad actions, devotional actions. Devotional actions are good, but you're also performing good actions and bad deeds, sinful deeds. So this is why he is hesitant to come to us, because we are not really calling him from the heart. We are relying on the world as well. And remember, Draupadi was relying on others as she was calling out to Shri Krishna, so he did not come. But when she gave up the strength of everyone, when she said, I'm not relying on anyone but one, then Shri Krishna says, now I'm ready to come to you and grace you. कैसे हूँ पतित शरण टुक आए राखत चरण मझार. Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj says, Shri Maharaj Ji says, it doesn't matter how the sinner surrenders to you, you give him place at your lotus feet. That means kamam, krodham, bhayam, sneham, aikyam, sauhardha, mevacha, nityam harau vidadhato yanti tanmayatam hite. Bhagavad Puran. In the Bhagavad, Vedavyas says, it doesn't matter how you surrender to God. With feelings of lust, kamam, krodham, with feelings of anger, bhayam, feelings of fear, sneham, feelings of affection. It doesn't matter how you surrender to him, he will grace you. The gopis surrendered to Shri Krishna with feelings of kam, feelings, lustful feelings. They looked upon him as a very handsome boy, and they all wanted to marry him. And they surrendered with those feelings, and he accepted them. Then there was Kans, who surrendered to Shri Krishna with feelings of fear, utmost fear. But his mind was completely on Shri Krishna. He couldn't eat, he couldn't wear his clothes. He was afraid of his servants. He would see Shri Krishna in his servants, in his clothes, in his food. He would see Shri Krishna everywhere. He was terrified of him. But he surrendered to Shri Krishna. He thought only about Shri Krishna 24 hours a day. And so Kans became God realized. Ravan surrendered to Bhagwan Sri Ram with feelings of enmity. Ravan said internally to Bhagwan, he said, I am in the body of an asur, and I cannot surrender myself to you with feelings of love and devotion, with love and adoration. So I shall surrender my mind to you with feelings of enmity. I will become your enemy. And in fact, that is a role that was given to Ravan by Bhagwan Shri Ram. जब भगवान पृथ्वी पर अवतार लेके आते हैं, और अवतार लेने का मतलब अवतरणम अवतारः, नीचे उतरना, उसका मतलब होता है अवतार लेना. जब वो नीचे उतरते हैं, वैसे तो हर जगह, हर समय, हर जगह है, सर्वव्यापी हैं, लेकिन जब अवतार लेके आते हैं तो पहले से ही अपने जनों से मीटिंग करके तय कर लेते हैं कि कौन उनकी माँ का रोल अदा करेगा, कौन उनका पिता बनेगा, कौन उनकी श्रीमती बनेगी, कौन उनके भाई बनेंगे और कौन उनका शत्रु बनेगा. तो रावण को शत्रु का रोल मिला था. तो रावण कहता है कि मैं असुर के रूप में हूं, मैं शत्रुता के द्वारा अपने मन को आपके चरणों में लगाऊंगा, आपकी शरण में आऊंगा, लेकिन शत्रुता के माध्यम से. तो हर तरह से भगवान के, कई तरह से भगवान की शरण में जाया जा सकता है. लेकिन हमारे लिए क्या राय है संतों की और ग्रंथों की? तो वो कहते हैं कि देखो, जो शत्रुता से भगवान की शरण में जाता है वो तो भगवान के अवतार काल में ही संभव हो सकता है. और फिर शत्रुता मोल लेने के लिए उस भक्त को इतना महान होना पड़ता है कि जैसे भगवान है, भगवान के स्तर पे उसको होना चाहिए. जैसे रावण भगवान के स्तर पे था, क्योंकि भगवान ने उसको अपनी सारी शक्तियां दे रखी थी. तो हम तो कहीं नहीं है, कहाँ भगवान और कहाँ हम. तो हमारे लिए यही हिदायत है कि हम प्रेम के माध्यम से हम उनकी शरण में जाएं. So although it is true that many devotees have surrendered to him with feelings of enmity and fear and lust and anger, yet we must surrender to him with feelings of love and adoration, like the gopis. पतितन ही सो प्यार करत नित अस कह संत पुकार. Your loving saints proclaim that you have a special love for sinful souls. God is infinitely soft-hearted. He's extremely soft-hearted. When he sees a sinful soul, he feels a lot of compassion for that soul. And he's so kind and merciful that when he sees us, we are sinful souls. He sees us and his heart is filled with compassion. And he gives us so many gifts. Knowing that we cannot go to his level, he comes down to our level. He takes avatar. He comes down to earth in the human form. And he lives in our midst, thinking that today they're not recognizing me. Today they're mocking me. While I'm here, they're mocking me. They are thinking that I am the worst person ever. They are mocking me. They are seeking enmity with me. They are trying to beat me. They are trying to kill me. But never mind. I will remain in their midst. And when they take birth again and again as humans, then they will hear about my stories. And then, with the grace of a saint, with the grace of my true devotee, they will get to know who I was, and they will still fall in love with me. God is so merciful. In the world, people are not so forgiving, are they? When someone does something wrong, people like to talk about that person. Look what she did. Look what he did. shun him. People shun that person. Oh, he wants to be friends with me, but I don't want anything to do with him. He has not done a good thing. He's done many bad things. He is trying to mend his ways, but people of the world are unforgiving. God looks at us, we have committed countless wrongs, and God says, no, you're my child. God is ever willing to embrace us. And his saints are the same. Shri Maharaj Ji, Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, he would be so loving to even those who were conspiring against him. And everyone looking on would know that Maharaj Ji is being so loving to someone who is his enemy. But to him, there was no difference. Shri Maharaj Ji would embrace that person and he would say, mera beta aa gaya. Oh, my son has come. And Maharaj Ji would press him to his heart. He would embrace him lovingly. And that was not an act. He was looking at the other good qualities, the good qualities of that person. Never mind that he is going against me. Never mind that he is opposing me, but he has so many other good qualities. Only God and saints can do that. So, O Shri Krishna, I have heard from your saints that you have a special love for sinners. Then why is it that you have become stone-hearted with me, the most sinful one? So these words are in Prem Ras Madira, as most of you know. Prem Ras Madira is divided into 21 sections known as Madhuris, and this is from Dainya Madhuri. Dainya, Dinta, humility. So with true humility, Shri Maharaj Ji says, I am the most fallen. Why have you become stone-hearted with me? Again, this is not according to philosophy. These are the words spoken lovingly by a devotee who is saying these words to Bhagwan with tears flowing from his eyes. Tears are being shed non-stop as he says this to his beloved Lord. That why is it that you're not coming to my rescue? I'm drowning in the ocean of Maya and you're just watching me. You're watching on, that's all. That is not the truth. But he says this lovingly. The truth is that the moment we surrender to him, that is the moment that he will grace us. How does he grace us? He will grace us with unlimited knowledge and immeasurable bliss, anand. God gives all his property to the one who truly accepts him as the one and only. That he doesn't hold anything back. Dhruv surrendered to him, and Dhruv was a little child. He could not even speak properly. But Bhagwan appeared before Dhruv and touched his shoulder with his shank, with his conch, thereby giving Dhruv all the knowledge of scriptures and all knowledge. Now Dhruv could answer any question on any topic. He was given unlimited knowledge by God, just with a touch of that shank. But because he surrendered fully, he accepted Bhagwan to be his one and only. And if you know the history of Dhruv, you've heard it, he started to pray to God because he wanted a gift from God. And the gift was that his father would accept him, that he could sit in his father's lap. His father was a king who had 2 wives. Dhruv was the son of the older queen, the first queen, and then there was a second queen who became the king's favorite, and she would poison her husband's ears so much that she would push, that he would not even put Dhruv in his lap. He would not give any attention to his first son. So Dhruv was so hurt by this that he decided that he would pray to God and he would get this gift of his father's affection. But along the way, he understood that he should not be asking for such a small thing, that he would ask for God's love instead. And so when he surrendered fully to God, then God gave him unlimited knowledge and immeasurable happiness. Happiness that no one could ever take away from him. Happiness that he could not be robbed of. Happiness that would not diminish with the passage of time. These are the main qualities that God has, main properties. Knowledge and love. God gave him, when time came, then God gave him a divine body in his divine kingdom. And now Dhruv does not have to come to the world anymore. Same thing with Prahlad, same thing with all saints. The ones who were just like us, perhaps they were just like us, and they did sadhana and became siddh. So they are called sadhan, siddh, saints, sant. And there are very few ones who were never affected by Maya. They were always divine. They are nitya siddh, eternally perfect souls. So it doesn't matter what kind of saint it is. The fact is, once a saint, always a saint. He has attained all the properties of God, but out of humility he says, Puni ati patit kripalu pekhikat ur nishthurta dhar. Shri Maharaj Ji has taught us millions of times, he has reminded us to cry for God, to be humble. He would say to us, the only reason you're not able to cry for God is because of your pride. So think, what are you proud of? Are you proud of your wealth? And how much wealth do you have anyway? Even the richest person in the world cannot purchase even a single city in the world. Shri Maharaj Ji would give a reference, like how much money, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You're the richest person in the world, but you still don't have enough money to buy a single city in the world. So what kind of wealth do you have? How much beauty do you have? Beauty that is going down every single day. Beauty that is dwindling every single day. How much intelligence do you have? How much knowledge do you have? What are you proud of? And this is what we must ask ourselves as we sing such beautiful songs of humility. Soye hamri hi bar kahan hari. What am I proud of? And we should not have any doubts as to why God is not coming. I'm crying for him because those tears are not pure yet. Some of those tears are because of the world. Some of those tears are for God. And sometimes we shed a few tears, then we think, go back to our worldly ways. So once our tears are genuine and they are pure, then he will not take a single moment in coming to our rescue. We can be sure of this. He is not lacking in any way. We are. Once we do what we need to do, he is waiting with outstretched arms to embrace us and with benevolent eyes to grace us. We read that and we say this in our prayer. He param priyatam purnatam purushottam. No, we do that. We say these words. So he's waiting for us with outstretched arms and with benevolent eyes to grace us. The fault lies not with him, but with us. And these words are spoken out of love. The devotee is not finding any fault with God, nor should we ever find fault with God. So this is just a short explanation of this wonderful composition from Dainya Madhuri. I encourage you all to go into Prem Ras Madira and discover the treasures of this incredible scripture. Go to Dainya Madhuri, go to Siddhanta Madhuri, go to Rasiya Madhuri, go to Shri Krishna Bal Leela Madhuri, Shri Radha Bal Leela Madhuri, Shri Krishna Madhuri, Shri Radha Madhuri, Dham Madhuri. There are 21 sections, each one taking you to a different nectar. Let's all drink the nectar of Prem Ras Madira. In this retreat, we will continue to do so. And we offer our heartfelt gratitude to our Gurudev, Jagadguru Shri Kripalu Ji Maharaj, who has mercifully given Prem Ras Madira and so many other scriptures to the entire world. श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय, श्रीमद् युगल सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री